Welcome back in, episode 102. It's about 9:30. We're on that late night office grind. Me and my producer, we never leave, we never sleep, we never do anything else except work. Podcast still nameless. If you got any ideas, please drop something down in the comments. Other than the sports information podcast, that's what we're rocking with right now. Here's what missed tonight's show: NBA preseason. Pacers play full rotation. LeBron and Bronny take the court together for the first time. Just missed the cut tonight. Sorry, guys. Minnesota Lynx and New York Liberty advance to the WNBA Finals. Not going to talk about it. And it's not because I don't like the WNBA. It's because I don't know enough to give you guys an educated or even an entertaining take. So maybe next year, all right? Pump the brakes on it. But for tonight's show, obviously we got NFL Week 5 recap and Week 6 predictions, reactions. And then we're going to do 2 hills to die on. I'm going to pick the hills. I'm going to die on those hills. And then we got producer questions. But first, quick shout out to Hanover Athletics. Women's soccer's on a roll. They just won on senior day and on homecoming. They're playing tonight. They should be wrapping up here soon. So we'll have the producer pull those results up for later. And then also the men played today and they tied Rose-Hulman. So at least it's not a loss. And that's a conference matchup. So not losing is always big there. All right, let's get right into it. NFL Week 5. It was a good one. Started last Thursday. Primetime game between the Bucs and the Falcons, divisional matchup, and it did not disappoint. 66 total points in the game. And let me tell you, Kirk Cousins is here. He's broken the primetime curse. Primetime Kirk is here. 2-0 in primetime this year. Incredible. He threw for 500 yards, by the way. No big deal. Only 500. 509, actually. 42 of 58. 4 touchdowns. Of course, he had an interception. He threw the ball 58 times. You go throw the ball 58 times. See how many balls you get picked off. But yeah, dude, Kirk Cousins, he's looking good with the Falcons. They're starting to roll. And, as my boy JB says to me in pickleball once we get going, now we go. I'm sure Kirk Cousins is looking at Drake London like, hey, now we go. Oh, and the girls' women's soccer team dropped the ball tonight, 1-0. Sorry, Coach Watts, but it's okay. We'll get them next time. Back to NFL Week 5. Moving on from the Falcons and the Bucs. This next one hurts. Of course, Trevor and the Jags beat my Colts. All year long, I've been talking about how disappointing Trevor's been and how he's been making me look bad, making me look like I don't know what I'm talking about, which is true. I mean, he's been playing bad. But 28-34, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. They go on to beat the Colts 37-34 in an absolute shootout. Joe Flacco was slinging the ball 33 of 44, 359 yards for 3 touchdowns. That's a great follow-up. And that's also a divisional game. It's a great follow-up to Thursday night's football, though. I tell you what, 36-30 and then 37-34. Sheesh. Divisional games just aren't the same these days. They used to be low scoring, and now they're just shootouts. Speaking of divisional shootouts, next, Ravens at Bengals was hands down game of the week. Divisional game, 41-38 Ravens. That game was unbelievable. Me and my roommates all in the living room were watching it, and we were going crazy. Joe Burrow was 30 of 39 for 392 yards with 5 touchdowns, and he had an interception that ultimately pretty much cost him the game because it allowed him to go into overtime, where they lost. But Lamar was 26 of 42, 348 yards, and 4 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. He also ran for 55 yards. There was one point in the game they flashed that graphic of both quarterbacks having over 300 and something yards, and Joe Burrow had 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, and Lamar had 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and then Burrow threw the pick right after. And the rest is history. But, man, that game was electric, and overtime was even great. Both teams got a possession before the Ravens went to score. The Ravens got a ball, didn't score. Bengals got a ball, didn't score. Ravens went down, kicked a field goal, and it was over with. Game of the week, hands down. Lamar's phenomenal. He's unreal. He might get another MVP if he keeps playing like that. Right now, I still think Jaden Daniels might be in the front running, and Josh Allen's probably still up there. Anyway, moving on. Another Week 5 reaction take. Brock Purdy. It's kind of weird how he has a losing record with no CMC, huh? Nope, not weird at all. Said it all along. The dude's a pumpkin. Dude's a fraud. He has the Avengers on his team, as Nick Wright says. I'll break that down for you. He's got Deebo Samuel. He's got Brandon Ayuk. He's got George Kittle. He's got CMC. Oh, and he's got the best fullback in the league, which then doesn't matter until you realize that they essentially use him the same way the Philadelphia Eagles use the tush push, and that is anything short, they're getting those yards. Now, they don't go for it on fourth down as often, but my point is Brock Purdy has the best supporting cast you could ask for, not to mention a really, really, really elite defense most years. So, like, it's just weird how when you take away one of those pieces, I know it's been a couple of them because Debo's been out some time too, but Christian McCaffrey's been the only one that's out all season, and 2 and 3. So, Brock Purdy, you're bad. No, you're not bad. You're just average, and that's okay. It's okay to be average, especially when you have a great team like that. All you got to do is play your role, which you do great. But I'm tired of these people gassing you up. We'll get more on that later. But the Giants, they're better than we all thought they were going to be. That's all I'm going to say. They beat the Seahawks 29-20. The Seahawks been slinging the ball, and they've been scoring points. So it's not a game to sneeze at. But Daniel Jones, 23 of 34. Missed 11 passes and 257 yards, but 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's pretty good. Pretty good. I don't believe he had any fumbles either. I don't think he turned that ball over. So Daniel Jones is doing better than we thought he would. The Giants are better than we thought they'd be. Like, everybody has to admit that. We thought there was a solid chance that the Giants won less than 7 games. I mean, less than 6 games maybe even. Like, they're a bad football team at the beginning of the year. Everybody thought. But they're 2 and 3 now. I don't like saying that. But anyway, last, Chiefs moved to 5-0 as expected. Mahomes and company was almost awesome. And I say almost awesome because while Mahomes did have his best passing game of the year in terms of yards and completions, he was 28 of 39, 331 yards. He didn't have a single passing touchdown. And he threw an interception. But let's run that back. Mahomes didn't have a single passing touchdown. And he threw an interception. And they're 5-0. Meaning they won the game by double what the Saints put up, 26-13. That's stupid. And it's because Steve Spagnuolo's got that defense playing out of their mind. And again, not to keep name dropping this Mongol of the sports media, but Nick Wright brought up a stat the other day. I don't know if it was on First Things First or if it was his podcast with What's Right, but the Chiefs haven't allowed 28 points in a football game since the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles. 2 Super Bowls ago, dude. Meaning we've played a full season of football plus another playoffs and Super Bowl plus these 5 games now where their defense has yet to allow any team they've come across, lined up against, to put up 28 or more points. That's ridiculous. The next longest active streak is like the Bears with 11, and it's like 11 games or something. It's unreal. I don't understand that. But if the Chiefs can win games and Patrick Mahomes doesn't throw for a touchdown and he has an interception, how are you gonna beat him, dude? How are you gonna beat him? Somebody's got to figure it out though, and it's gonna be the Colts, baby. JK, we're not even making the playoffs. All right, week 6 predictions. We're gonna pick outright winners for each game, and then we're going to recap those picks in next week. We're going to pick one player that's going to have an A-plus week. I've already got it to lock, guaranteed. And then we're going to pick 2 games that are going to be just must-see TV. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't think I'm right. So week 6, Thursday night football. Wait a minute. I was so lied to at dinner. That's ridiculous. Anyway, Thursday night football is the 49ers and Seahawks. My buddy at dinner, Dallas, he was talking about the Falcons play on Thursday night or something. Or no, it said the Saints, but they don't. They play on Sunday. So, anyway, 49ers Seahawks on Thursday. Give me the Niners. Give me Purdy and the Avengers, minus CMC. Jaguars at Bears. Man. Oh, I hate it. Give me the Bears. The defense is too good. Trevor struggled all year. He got by my Colts. Congrats, but give me the Bears. Caleb Williams is going to get another win. Bucks at Saints. Give me the Bucks. I think the Saints are on the downhill, especially since Derek Carr just got injured. Commanders at Ravens. Lamar's going to show Jaden Daniels the difference between a vet and a rookie. That's all I'm going to say. Sneak peek at some picks, maybe. Cardinals at Packers. Dude, Kyler's so fun. But give me the Packers. Colts at Titans. Give me the Colts. I think the Titans are bad. I think they're really bad. And I think Joe Flacco is a hooper, dude. He shouldn't be as good as he is at this age. That's all I know. Texans at Patriots. Give me C.J. Stroud, brother. Browns at Eagles. Definitely the Eagles. Browns are just a bad football team this year. It's crazy. Chargers at Broncos. That might be an entertaining game, especially divisional game. Those might be high scoring. Statistically speaking, this year they're gonna be. Give me the Chargers. I think. Oh, that's a bad pick. That's a bad pick. But I'm gonna have some courage in my convictions. Give me the Chargers. Harbaugh, go get it done. Herbert, go be elite. Yeah, hey, you're another quarterback that's on the chopping block, dude. A lot of people were calling you elite because your arm talent and this and that and the other. In your rookie season, you balled out. But like my boy Trevor, you just haven't hit that elite mark. Now, Trevor's fallen a lot shorter than you have, but you haven't hit the mark either. So you're on the chopping block too. Accountability. Steelers at Raiders. Speaking of accountability, holy Mike Tomlin. Give me the Steelers. They are one of the top 10 teams in football right now based off the way they win games and play. So give me the Steelers. Falcons, Panthers. Kirk, all day. He's way better than Red Rocket Boy or whatever his name is. Lions at Cowboys. There's no way the Cowboys find a way to win that game. 0 shot. Give me the Lions. Bengals at Giants. Give me the Bengals. Joe Burrow. Dude, he's playing so good this season, and his team, his defense particularly, is just so bad. Feel bad for the Bengals. Feel bad for Bengals Nation. Cincy fans everywhere. You guys are just in shambles this year. I'm sorry. It's the truth. You are. Bills at Jets. The Jets are a bad football team. Aaron Rodgers is no longer a good quarterback. Give me the Bills. Okay. One player to have an A-plus week. Who's it going to be? It's Lamar Jackson. I hinted at it earlier. He's going to show Jaden Daniels the difference between a vet and a rookie. He just played his ass off against the Bengals. You think he's going to let this maybe rookie MVP candidate, and obviously Rookie of the Year candidate, probably front runner and going to win the award anyway, but he's going to show that kid, hey, man, I've been doing this, and I do exactly what it is you do. I'm a dual-threat quarterback who's got elite arm talent and can run all over the field and has game-breaking speed, but I do it better, and I've been doing it longer, and I got 2 MVPs, okay? And I was in the AFC Championship last game, and I'm going back. I don't know that he's actually going back, but that's definitely how Lamar feels, okay? And that's how he's going to play, and he's going to put Jaden Daniels to bed. And the Washington Commanders secondary, Garbunko. Absolute trash. Just terrible. Lamar's going to pick them apart. Zay Flowers. Best game of the year. Maybe. But must-see TV. Jags at Bears. Jags at Bears. Hammer it. Watch it. Watch the game. I guarantee you. Both QBs have a thing or two to prove. Trevor's 1-4. He's trying to prove that he's not terrible. He's trying to prove that he deserves the money he got. Caleb Williams, rookie, battling adversity always, but they're 3-2. They're on the come up. And the Bears have a really, really good defense. So if Trevor wants to prove that he's good, hey, go out there and ball on this Bears defense. And the Jags just have a horrible defense, dude. They're absolutely awful. They've allowed 20 or more points in all of their games this year except to the Browns. The Browns only scored 18, which is their season high, by the way, and the Jags lost that game. But, the Bills put 47 on them. The Colts put 34 on them, lost. Texans put 24. Dolphins put 20. They're just not a good defense. So I expect Caleb Williams to do a thing or two. I wouldn't be surprised if Rome Odunze gets pretty involved in this game. DJ Moore is obviously going to do DJ Moore things. He's been balling once again this season. So, yeah, tune into that game for sure. My guess, what's the over on that game? What do we think the over is? While I look for that, I will tell you what my next must-see TV pick is, and that is Commanders at Ravens. The explanation is a lot shorter. It is, once again, because Lamar is going to be MVP Lamar Jackson, and he's going to go crazy, and he's just going to be all over the field. He's going to be running the ball. He's going to be throwing the ball. Must-see TV, Lamar Jackson, when he's playing his best. It's literally the definition of must-see TV. So, book that one. Jacksonville at Chicago, the over is 44.5. I wouldn't be surprised if that game goes over. It feels like a 24-27, maybe 28-27 game. I don't know, something like that. It feels like it's going to be kind of a higher scoring game. But who knows? Maybe the Bears just blow them out. You never know. Hills to die on. That's what's next. And I got two. One of them, not really a hard one to die on, but I was just doing a little bit of reading, some pre-show homework, and I had seen that CBS Sports did their quarterback rankings list, as they do every week. And they had Brock Purdy at QB3. Excuse me? I don't think this man has been the best quarterback in the league this year. But Patrick Mahomes at 5-0. And, I mean, shit. Sam Darnold at, what are they? 4-1, right? Where are my Vikings here? Where are my Vikings? I think they're 5-0, actually. Huh. Even better. You got two undefeated quarterbacks in the league ranked lower than that man. And he fell apart without his all-star running back. Enough with the Brock Purdy gargling, dude. Put it down. Give it a rest. If I can admit that Trevor Lawrence isn't elite, you guys can admit that Brock Purdy isn't, okay? That's all I'm saying. And that's the hill that I'm going to die on. And I think that I'll end up not dying. I'll just stand very tall on that hill and come out on top. I will prevail. So kind of a boring hill to die on, but a lot of you guys are sending shots at that hill, saying that he is, and obviously CBS Sports is, and they're supposed to be the experts or whatever, which is ridiculous. Next, the Colts are as good, if not better, than the Cowboys this season. And here's why. Okay? Here's why. Before you get all right, let's just start with touchdowns scored and touchdowns allowed. Cowboys have scored 11 and allowed 14. Colts have scored 15, allowed 13. So they've allowed one less, but also scored 4 more. Now, that's not reflected in the record, which is crazy. The records are flip-flop. Colts are 2-3. Cowboys are 3-2. The Colts have thrown for 1,205 total passing yards. The Cowboys have thrown for 1,430 total pass yards. But then you go look at total rushing yards. 410 for the Cowboys and 626 for the Colts. The Cowboys have 0 run game, and their defense is horrendous this year. The Colts have a run game. The Colts have a backup quarterback that can come in and hang 34 on a team. Now, it's the Jaguars, but the Jaguars' defense and the Cowboys' defense have looked pretty similar this year. The Cowboys have Dak Prescott, who can sometimes win you games that you shouldn't win, just as he did the other night against the Steelers. But he also has a tendency to not be able to save you in games where you need him to save you. And some of that is due to his coach just really shooting him in his own foot, but sometimes it's because Dak's just not that guy. Okay? And I'm not a Dak hater. I think Dak gets a lot of hate that's unwarranted, and most of that is because I lived with a Cowboys fan. But he's a pretty objective Cowboys fan. He opened my eyes to a lot of things. Like, Dak's not an interception-prone quarterback, and if you think he is, go look at his numbers compared to Jared Goff's, because nobody's going to call Jared Goff an interception-prone quarterback, and he's got more career interceptions. So, relax. But the Colts, they're as good as the Cowboys this year because they score more, they allow less points, and they have a better run game. They have a better defense. They have a better complete team. They've just happened to lose one more game this year. So that one game is not the end-all, be-all. That is not the tail of the tape. The tail of the tape is on the stat sheet for the season. So Colts, as good as the Cowboys. If you don't agree, shoot shots at my hill. I'll die on it. I'll defend myself in the comments. All right. We got producer questions, and then we're getting out of here. Let's hear them.
Ready?
Oh, we're ready, baby.
First is, what are your thoughts on the Jets firing Robert Saleh?
All right. I think it was long overdue. Not because Roger Saleh is bad at what he does, because let's be very clear about Robert Saleh, not Roger. He is a defensive coach, a defensive head coach who would thrive as a defensive coordinator, because if you look at the Jets defense during his time there, if you look at the Jets defense during Saleh's time there, they have been consistently top 10 in the league. They don't allow a lot of pass yards. They'll eat you up in the run. And you just don't see, if we go look at their points allowed this year, they just don't allow a ton of points to any of their opponents. The 49ers hung 32 on them in the first game, but then it's been 17 points by the Titans, 3 points by the Patriots, 10 points by the Broncos. They did lose that game, however, which is back to my point about the Jets are a bad football team and Aaron Rodgers is not a good quarterback. And then the Vikings, who have been putting up 40 on everybody, it feels like. Not actually, but a lot of points on everybody. Only 23 points. You clear. They didn't even get 3 touch. Well, no. Or did they? Did they get a safety that game? They either got 3 touchdowns and a safety, or they didn't get 3 touchdowns. So the Jets defense is always solid. And Robert Saleh, God, I always want to say Roger. Robert Saleh does his job as a defensive coach. What he doesn't do his job as, or well as, is just an overall head coach. He doesn't win you football games. And I get it. He had Zach Wilson for a little while and whatnot. But, dude, that's what you and your front office drafted. And you took him in the first round. So that you got to take that. You got to admit you missed on that. And that's part of the job. I think it's long overdue. I think Robert Saleh needs to go be a defensive coordinator somewhere. I think he would thrive. I think he'll be excellent. And I feel bad for him that he got wrapped up in the Aaron Rodgers stuff, because now he does feel like and look like a scapegoat. But I think Nat Hackett should be next, and he won't be because he's Aaron Rodgers' buddy. Well, he's really just his puppet because Aaron Rodgers is controlling everything, calling every shot. But Nat Hackett's the OC, and he's not done a thing with that offense, So if we're gonna can Saleh, you got to follow suit and do the right thing, and get rid of the other problem. But yeah, I think it was a little overdue. Probably should have been gone before you got Rodgers.
Okay, next on the list, some rookie rundown. What do you think about Drake Maye getting his first start, and how do you expect that to go?
Drake Maye getting his first start coming up in week 6, huh?
The passing game has been basically non-existent in New England, so.
I kind of like the Saleh thing. I think it's a little overdue. Why did you draft this man in the first round to not start him? I get it if you want to develop him a little bit. However, everything about the Patriots that was good in QB development is gone. That whole unit that was the Brady era is gone, right? And you don't have a good veteran quarterback in there that can help him learn. Jacoby Brissett's not a good veteran quarterback. He's just a veteran quarterback who's been a journeyman backup, really. So, yeah, I think it's overdue. I'm excited to see what Drake Maye can do, especially because he's got a cannon of an arm. And he's got a matchup that, it's going to be, you're going to be tested. C.J. Stroud's going to go out there and put up points, and D'Amico Ryan's going to have that defense pretty on it. The Texans aren't smothering you like the Steelers per se, or the Bears, but they're not the Jags. They're gonna touch you up. So I'm excited to see what Drake May can do. I don't think he has a lot of weapons to do a lot with, but that's the cool part about watching a rookie like him in his situation is like, all right, how good are you actually right now? Obviously we know he's very raw, but how raw? What
Would
do
you rather put up with 22 in raw or career journeyman?
I'd rather put up with 22 in raw, for sure.
I would agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's overdue. Like, he should have been in from the get-go. I think you just hindered his development, stunted his growth, his early growth at least, because he's just watching Jacoby Brissett do nothing. He's just learned what not to do. But anyway, what's next?
Still on the rookie train.
Okay.
Another guy getting his first start, Spencer Rattler.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen him in the spotlight since he was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
Like on QB1. Like, we've seen that. We've seen that whole side. And I think he painted everybody a picture that he was some snot-nosed kid. But he had a rocky college career, at Oklahoma and then South Carolina. Shane Beamer didn't help him at all, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think makes him fit to be, one of the best 32 quarterbacks on the planet?
Again, I think it's one of those situations where it's, what would you rather have? 6 foot, 200-pound, 22-year-old kid with some raw talent, and quite honestly, all the arm talent in the world, unrefined, obviously, or would you rather have a veteran journeyman and a career backup guy? I think you could make the argument for some of those backups out there, maybe. Sam Darnold is one of those guys who's had a similar career to Jacoby Brissett, had a few different starting jobs, been backup a few different places. But Sam Darnold's actually good at football. That's the difference here. Spencer Rattler, the dude had, excluding his first freshman year where he only played in 3 games, his last 4 years of college where he was a starter in almost every game, dude threw for 10,800 yards in his career, 77 touchdowns, 32 interceptions. Yards per attempt was about 8.2. Yards per completion was about 12. Why not, right? Like, you've got some fun weapons in New Orleans. If Derek Carr can go out there and put up points like that and win you some games, let's not act like Derek Carr is the best quarterback in the world, guys. He makes some questionable decisions. Now, that Derek Carr deep ball against the Chiefs was something special. To Rashid Shaheed or whatever, that was something special. But I think Spencer Rattler can go out there and do those same things. I don't see why not. So I'm excited. That might be some must-see TV to tune into as well. The Saints-Bucks, just because Baker Mayfield, he's been balling this year with the Bucks, and the Saints might look decent with this kid Rattler in there, and especially if Olave can get out there and have a good game, run some good routes. Yeah, I'm excited for that. What's next?
Less on the puzzle pieces and more the bigger picture.
Okay.
Through 5 weeks, which sub-500 team do you think has the best shot to make the playoffs?
I really like that. Give me a second.
There's 15 that are below 500, so.
Yeah, let me pull. Do you have them over there, or do I need to pull them up? Okay. Read them off to me.
Okay. Cardinals, Colts, Raiders,
Okay.
Dolphins, Saints, Giants, Jets, 49ers, Titans, Panthers, Bengals, Browns, Jags, Rams, and Patriots.
It is easily the 49ers. That's what I had thought initially when you asked the question, because I know they're 2-3 and I was just talking about it. But of that list, it is easily the 49ers. I don't see another team on there that's close to where the 49ers will be in Week 16. I think the 49ers will be well above 500 by then. So long as CMC comes back, which he's supposed to. Not this week, though. I think more Week 7, Week 8. But I do think there's a couple of teams on there that should be at least on notice.
I mean, just, through my eyes, the Jets figure out this whole coaching situation. I think they could be one of those teams. And then obviously the Bengals. I mean, Jamar Chase is one of the best receivers in the league by far. And Joe Burrow's a solid quarterback. I mean, he took you to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. The Bengals was where I was going to go next just because they've got the Giants, the Browns, the Eagles, the Raiders. So that right there, I think they'll go 4-0 in those next games, and they'll be above 500. And then you've got the Ravens again in Baltimore, and you already dropped the win at home. But that's not a guaranteed loss for them. That's not a guaranteed loss or win for either team. That could go either way still. The Bengals are going to run right through the Chargers in L.A. I have no question about that on November 17th. The Steelers, another tough divisional game, and they're going to have to see them again at the end of the year. So that could be 2 more losses really quickly. That could be 1-1. That could be 2-0 if you figure it out. But then the Cowboys, the Browns again, the Broncos, and the Titans. So I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins in their next 12 games or whatever. So I think worst case they end the season 9-8. So, but again, I don't think they'll go 2-0 or 0-2 to the Steelers. And then that Ravens game is a toss-up. I can't predict that one. So, yeah, 49ers, and then let's go Bengals for my alternate pick there.
I can live with that. I'm still going to take the Jets.
I'm not a believer.
Neither am I, but I'm taking it.
In fact, if they don't figure something out this year, and then if they re-sign, like if they bring back Rodgers again next year, I might sell Garrett Wilson in fantasy. I've had enough. But all right, what's next?
Okay, still kind of a big picture.
Okay.
Who's your way, 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 way too early pick for MVP?
Whoa. Man. I mean, it feels counterintuitive because I'm screaming pump the brakes on so many of these other players. Like pump the brakes on Brock Purdy being so good and but dude, the Commanders were projected to be just awful in every preseason poll by every expert, by every news outlet, everything. And Jaden Daniels has got him at 4-1, and he's balling. But he's a rookie. So if it's not going to be JD, I mean, maybe Sam Darnold or Justin Jefferson. Because them boys are balling too.
Is Jaden Daniels your pick for Rookie of the Year?
By a mile. Not close. Country mile.
Do you think most people are
6
on
of
that
them.
train?
If they're not watching the same football games. Or they're doing some really hard drugs that really mess with your perception of reality. Because that's not, no. Yeah, if you're not on Jaden Daniels' Rookie of the Year train, you really don't know ball. I don't know what to tell you. What's next?
Everybody always says the best defense is a good offense. I'm kind of in agreement.
Okay.
In certain ways. But the Commanders are still climbing up the power rankings. They've got the second best record in the NFL at 4-1, tied for second.
Uh-huh.
Their defense is kind of abysmal. They give up 23 points a game through 5 weeks. But offense has been a true well-oiled machine. They put up 31 points a game, by themselves. Like, do you think that's something that they can keep a hold on, all year, putting up a lot of points and just being in shootouts with other teams?
Historically, it's not sustainable, right? And that was the whole reason we told people to pump the brakes on the Saints and Derek Carr and, relax a little. But let's take a look at the Commanders' schedule here because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know the whole rest of their schedule off the top of my head. With the Ravens, I think if they want to win that game or be close in that game, it's got to be a shootout because I don't see the Ravens putting up fewer than 24 4 points. Lamar Jackson's getting 3 touchdowns on that defense, and they're kicking at least 1 field goal. The Panthers, though, yeah, they could go put up 40 on the Panthers. The Bears will be a tough one, obviously, and the Steelers will too. The Giants, it's a divisional game, but I said the Giants are better than we thought. I didn't say they were good. They could put some points up on them. The Eagles, that defense picks and chooses when to show up like no other. So who knows if they'll show up that day. But then the Cowboys, the Saints, the Eagles again, the Cowboys again, the Falcons, and the Titans. They're not playing a lot of really good defenses. So they certainly could find themselves in a lot of shootouts. And if Jaden Daniels just keeps playing with that rookie mentality of, screw it, I'm balling. Like, what do I got to lose? Yeah. Could be sustainable for this season at least. I don't know if 31 points is. I think that might drop to around 27 by the end of the season. Fall off by 4 points or so. But close to. Just real quick, some of those other top offenses. Yards per game, Houston Texans. The other points per game are the Ravens at second, Bills, Bengals, and the Saints. There we go. Let's talk about that real quick. Sidebar. The Bengals are a top 5 offense in the league right now. And Joe Burrow is like top 3 to 4 in most QB stats. Passing touchdowns, passing yards, this, that, and the other.
And they're 1-4
because that defense is just horrible. So, again, Cincy fans, I feel for you guys. I'm so sorry. All right. How many more questions we got?
That was my last question, but I do want your thoughts on one thing.
Let's hear it.
I guess not really the last question. Justin Fields. Been balling. In his own way.
Yeah, he has.
Definitely the running quarterback.
Yeah,
he's Mike Tomlin's best friend, I think.
Yeah.
He's completed 67% of his passes, 5 touchdowns through the air, 1 interception, 961 total yards, 192 yards a game, rushed the ball 44 times for 172, 3.9 yards a carry, and 3 rushing touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
That's 8 touchdowns in 5 games.
So what's your question?
Do you think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL for the foreseeable future, or is he just a Mike Tomlin product?
I think he is the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh for the foreseeable future. I think if Mike Tomlin goes back to Russell Wilson after this, he will lose some IQ points in my book. And I think the world of Mike Tomlin. When you're a coach who just pulls out winning season after winning season, and you are constantly covering as a home dog and winning games as a dog that you have no business winning sometimes, and just having an elite defense year after year, and really relying on that defense and that ground and pound run game in this passing league, and you're still winning these games. You know what you're doing, dude. But you cannot convince me you know what you're doing if you go back to Russell Wilson after having the success you've been having with Justin Fields. Like you said, match made in heaven. Mike, I think you found your guy. I think you found your version of Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan got his guy that will do exactly what he needs and what he wants, and he can get it done. As much as I disregard Brock Purdy, they can win a Super Bowl with that guy. I think you've got something here with Justin Fields in Pittsburgh. I think you can really win some games and make more games than you have. Not just 9-8, but maybe we go 10-7. Maybe we go 11-6. I'm not going to go much past that, but you got a shot. Okay, you got a shot at the playoffs with Justin Fields on your roster so far. All right, I think that's going to do it for the show. We probably ran a little over 30 minutes, but still under 40, definitely under 45. Thanks for tuning in. Real quick, we only went up 4 subscribers from week 4 to week 5. Come on, guys. Or 5 to 6, whatever we're on. I don't know. Just double it, okay? We were at 14. I asked for 28. We're at 18. Let's get to 36. Send the link to your mom. Send it to your uncle. Send it to your dad. Send it to your friend. Send it to your little brother. Send it to your teacher. They might know me. And then go follow me on socials at Hopathy with 2 P's, OTHY at the end. Thanks.